Hello everyone, this is Dr. Merlin speaking. Today we're going to be talking about transhumanism. Now, what is transhumanism? Transhumanism is a term used to describe the idea that technology and science may someday change our lives so much that we would no longer be the same species that we are today. Many people believe that in the next 100 years, we may be able to solve the problems of hunger, poverty, illness, and perhaps even death. In the future, people may be so different from us that they could be called post-human. Now, how do you feel about the future? I want you to think about this. Will life be better or worse than it is now? What are some important problems that you think we will be able to solve with science and technology, if not all of them? Do you think it is dangerous for us to keep making new and better machines? Now let's discuss nanotechnology for a bit. Nanotechnology is the science of building machines that are so small that they can work with individual molecules and atoms. With this technology, we could build anything: food, clothing, houses, from very small pieces, and use almost anything to make it, such as sand or garbage. Another thing we could do with nanotech is put very small robots, nanomachines, inside our bodies where they could make us healthier by killing diseased cells or repairing damage to our bodies. Or they can even enhance our already functioning bodies and make them much more efficient at doing many things. For example, fighting off infections, and physical feats can be much more easier, can be done much more easier using nanotechnology and nanobots. Could transhumanism and the future lead to the end of scarcity? Scarcity is the fundamental problem of having people who have wants and needs in a world of limited resources. Because we live in a world with limited resources, not everyone is able to get everything they need. However, if you could use nanotechnology to change any kind of matter into any other kind of matter, there is no reason that food and medicine would be any different from trash and dirt. If we can use technology to create more resources than everyone in the whole world needs, we may enter a post-scarcity economy. In a post-scarcity economy, things such as goods, services, and information would be free or practically free. Imagine that. Immortality. In ancient Rome, the average human life expectancy was 28 years. In the early 20th century, the average life expectancy was 31 years. In 2010, the average life expectancy skyrocketed to 67.2 years. In other words, in the 2,000 years between ancient Rome and the 1900s, the lifespan of the average person grew only 3 years. But in the last 100 years, it has grown by 36 years. Many people believe that in the future, people will be living much longer than they do today. Some people even believe that with advances in medicine and technology, we will be able to live forever. I am one of those believers as well, being in the medical field myself and working on gene therapies and gene engineering. What do you think? If there is more food, water, medicine, housing, and clothing than people need, will we still have money and jobs? Do you think that people will be able to live forever? What will we do if we all live that long? Would you let someone put robots inside your body? Why or why not? Well, I believe that the definition of jobs and monetary compensation will be completely changed after we reached our post-human state. And if there is no forever, even the universe will end someday, but living much longer without end possibly will have many benefits and certain detriments to our human societies. But in a post-human society, who knows? Things could be so marvelous and we could be so advanced that this will be a necessity, not only something that's added to our lives, this sort of immortality, let's say. And, well, if I see that the technology has progressed enough for robots to be advanced enough and safe enough to be used inside our bodies, I will definitely get implants, such as now Neuralink is working on them, and many other startups and companies are working on neural interfaces and brain-computer interfaces and brain implants that can help us in achieving this. But at the moment, I do not believe it is a safe decision. For example, there are some crude machinations out there, and people do get implants for certain diseases and for certain mental health issues, but it's not something that you could recommend to healthy people to do. Now, AI. Artificial intelligence is the intelligence of machines and the branch of computer science that aims to create it. John McCarthy, who coined the term in 1956, defines it as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. One interesting thing about intelligent machines is that the computers get faster, cheaper, and smarter every year, but the human brain has stayed relatively the same. One thing that intelligent machines can do is start to make other intelligent machines. When machines start to make themselves smarter without the need for people to make them, very strange things may happen indeed. And we've all, I think, are familiar with the Terminator and what happens in those scenarios and movies. But I am a bit more optimistic towards the future, even after we achieve true AI. The Singularity. Computers are not only becoming smarter and faster every year, but the rate at which they are becoming smarter is also getting faster. That means that after 1 year, a computer becomes 2 times as smart as it was the year before. But the next year, it becomes 4 times as smart, and the year after that, 8 times as smart. Some scientists think that in the future, computers will become so smart that in every second they will make themselves smarter, and at that moment, people will not be able to tell how smart they are or how fast they are growing. This moment is known as the singularity. Now, there is another concept that's discussed, and I personally plan on working on it, is mind uploading. Today, many scientists are working on ways to connect computers to the human brain. In the future, we may be able to control machines using only our thoughts, and we won't need to use a mouse or keyboard. If machines become much smarter than people, connecting our brains to computers may be a way for us to communicate with them. If this becomes possible, we might also be able to scan and copy our minds into a computer and create a program that thinks and acts just like us. This is called mind uploading. Some people think this might be a way to live forever, but others disagree. I personally agree with this sentiment that if we are able to imprint our minds fully onto a certain storage device and then upload it again to a different synthetic body or a cloned body, this will effectively be reaching immortality. Now, what are cryonics? Some people just can't wait for the future to get here. For a very high fee, some people have begun to have themselves frozen when they die. This is called cryonics, from Greek kryos, meaning icy cold. The reason that people want to do this is because they think that in the future, medicine will be so advanced that it will be possible to cure their diseases and bring them back to life. What do you think? Do you think computers will become smarter than people? I personally agree with this to a certain level. You see, we have intelligence, intelligence and capacity. Computers right now have the capacity to do many calculations, infinite calculations, infinitely better than us. But the true essence of intelligence and that spark of genius is something that our machines have not achieved yet and will not achieve, I think, until major breakthroughs are made in machine learning and in creating, as for the humans' part. And if computers rule the world, do you think it will be better or worse for people? Well, I'm going to leave this open, and I want you to use your own imaginations. If you make a copy of your brain that thinks and feels exactly like you do, is it really another you? I believe that it's effectively you, especially if at the moment that this is done, you pass away and you die leaving your physical body effectively without use, then this will be a new you, but not a different you. It will still have your essence, still have all your memories and the way you thought, especially if it's uploaded to an organic body similar to yours, like a cloned body, then it will be you again. Would you ever pay to have yourself frozen so that you could wake up in the future? Well, from the knowledge of cryonics that I have, it's really crude, and I would not suggest it to anyone right now, because they are using ways to freeze your body, and especially the head. Many people are opting out to only have their heads frozen because it is quite an expensive procedure and more expensive to maintain. They're having their heads frozen, but from what I've seen in the science, they will not be able to defrost these heads and reanimate them in any way, because what they're doing is basically the same as putting something in a freezer. And although it's more complex than that, but it's not completely reversible, and we haven't gotten there yet. So I would not suggest it to any patients.